Most of the games, shooting games, I like to use the sniper because it's one of my favorite guns to use in games, right? In shooting games. But on the Division, it was not the case all the time because it's an RPG game and one shot, headshot is not really a thing that happens all the time. But thankfully on the title update 6, actually now we can actually have a one-shot sniper built on the game. So today I'm bringing you guys my one-shot PVE sniper build for title update 6. This kind of works on PvP, I believe. I have not tried it, so that's why I'm not gonna say it's a PvP build, but I believe it could work. But this is mostly focusing on PvE. So this is gonna be the build, guys. This is the PvE one-shot sniper build, at least most of the time. The only time I've seen this build not one-shotting headshot a enemy is gonna be against the tanky bosses, right? The tanky bosses, they have a lot more armor and health, so for that reason you're not gonna be able to one-shot, but it takes most of the time 2 shots. Break the armor with the first shot and kill him with the second shot. So this is gonna be the build. So this build hits pretty hard the way it is right now, but I could put this to hit a lot harder, right? So what I'm gonna do on this video, I'm gonna show you first piece by piece what I have on each piece, and then after that I need to explain to you guys some stuff and how to make this build better depending on your RNG, right? So there is a lot of explanation to do on this build. So let's start off with the actual sniper. So the sniper of this build is gonna be the classic M44 carbine. I believe right now this is the highest damage sniper in the game. I got this sniper right on the first day and I noticed the damage was a lot higher compared to my M700, right? So right there I thought the classic M44 is gonna be the best sniper in the game. This was a lucky shot, a lucky weapon that got dropped for me right in the beginning of title update 6, so I'm happy for that. The way I mod this sniper is pretty simple. It's only 3 mods. So we have the mod of the sharpshooter, the digital scope that gives us 45% headshot damage. We have 5% weapon damage on the magazine and a 5% crit chance on the laser point, right? But we only have that crit chance in here because we don't have much choice, right? So it's just there for that. We're not focusing on crit chance. The secondary, of course, is going to be the Nemesis because of that holster talent, right? Preparation. While holster gain 15% headshot damage when scoped with your current weapon. So we're gonna add a 15% headshot damage on top of what we have on this build, which is 256 headshot damage. Alright, moving on for the gear. So for the gear on this build, you wanna have 3 aces and 8s and 3 heralding holdings. That's the best thing that you can do for this sniper build. Doesn't matter where you have it because there's other ways that you can switch this around. I'm gonna show you guys when I explain. But you wanna have 3 aces and 8s and 3 heralding holdings. Now let's start off with the mask. Right from the bat, you guys see that I don't have concussion, and I will explain that in a second, right? So just hold on to that. So for this Ace and 8 mask, we have attributes 43% damage to elite and 6% crit chance. Now this here could be a lot higher. You guys know that damage to elite right now is dropping 55% and higher. I found one with 63 on the PTS, so you could have a lot more in here, right? That's the highest I have right now. The mod slot is going to be an offensive mod slot, 2% weapon damage and 3% marksman rifle damage and 1% damage to health. For the chest piece, we have what started this build, right? As soon as I got this chest piece dropped for me on the open world, I'm like, I need to make a sniper build with this chest piece. First time this thing dropped for me, I saw 23% headshot damage. I could not believe it. And I love it though. The only thing I needed in here was vigilance, and then I got some vigilance from some other gear and roll it into here, right? So it has 23% headshot damage, 4% weapon damage. I wish this was higher though. 4% is not too bad though. You could go a lot higher in here if you're lucky enough. It's gonna be on depending on your RNG. For the mods, we have one offensive mod slot that has 1% weapon damage, 4% marksman rifle damage, and 1% damage to armor. Defensive mod slot with some armor, total armor, and health. For the holster, we have the second heralding holding brand set in this build. This one gonna gives us an attribute that has 32,000 health because we're kind of squishy on this build. The only other option in here could be crit chance or crit damage, but we're not focusing on that, right? So putting health in here would be a lot better than putting crit chance in here, since we already have a lot of reds on this build. So I recommend going with health in here. For the talents, we have precise, 15% headshot damage, nothing more to explain in there. And then mods, we have one offensive mod slot with 1% weapon damage and 4% marksman rifle damage. The backpack I had to roll this a lot of times to get to this one, and this one is an Aces and Eights backpack. It has on the attributes 7% crit chance, 8.5% weapon damage, and 16% skill haste. I wish if I had some health or armor in here. This is not what I want in here, but like I said, it depends on your luck or your RNG. So the talent is going to be hard hitting because we're focusing on PVE. Hard hitting in here is going to add a 25% damage to elite. For the mods, we have 2 offensive mod slots on the backpack of Aces and Eights. 1% weapon damage, 4% marksman rifle damage, and then another 2% weapon damage, 1% damage to health, and 3% marksman rifle damage. Moving down for the gloves is going to be the third and last Aces and Eights on this build. We have attributes 10% marksman rifle damage. Of course, we want marksman rifle damage, right? It's a sniper build. And then 11,000 health. It has 1 offensive mod slot, which is good, and has 1% weapon damage and 4% marksman rifle damage. Last but not least, we have a Heralding Holdings knee pads, which is the last Heralding Holdings on this build, and it has 11,000 armor. Now this could be higher. I'm not really too focusing on this. I could just roll this some other time, so I'm not really worried about this. But yeah, that could be a lot higher. For the talents, we have the new talent Composure. While in cover, grants 10% total weapon damage, and it requires 11 reds to unlock, right? So for the mods, it has 1 offensive mod slot, 1% weapon damage, and 4% marksman rifle damage. So with that said, I just showed you guys what I have on the pieces. Now let me explain the build and what's gonna be the best option and why I do not have concussion. Let's start off from the top, right? So let's start off, how could I have concussion in here? Because it is possible to have concussion, vigilance, and composure in this build. The way I could have concussion in here, it would be if I had a Heralding Holdings with concussion, which I do have, right? If I had that, but on the chest piece, I would need to have a Aces and Eights, but a specific one, right? So if we compare it, if I had a Aces and Eights that had some vigilance on it, talent, or a 20 plus headshot damage on it, that would be coming for this build. I just need to have either one of these, like either 23% headshot damage or vigilance on a SN8s. That way I can put it on this build as a chest piece. Right now I've been rolling and trying to craft more, but I'm running out of crafting materials and money. And if I had that, right, so the build would look like this if I had that SN8s in here with vigilance and 23% headshot damage. That's how the build would look like. So that's the build if it was in the perfect form, right? But because we don't have that, we're gonna keep the build like this. Now some people might think, well, you could change the knee pads for a SN8s and then you could put a heralding in here with concussion, right? And I could do that, but let me show you something. You're actually wrong. You're gonna do less damage with concussion instead of composure. So if you have to choose, which I had to, right? If you have to choose between composure and concussion, you should go with composure. To prove that to you guys, we're gonna do a test, right? So the way I'm gonna do this test, I need a mask that has no damage to elite and no concussion, right? So I have this mask right here, right? It's not gonna affect the build. It only does not have damage to elite and it does not have concussion. So we put this mask in here and we're gonna try the build. So right now we are on named enemy. We are on challenge war tier 5, right? So that's a named enemy and then that's 20 meters. Let's try some shots, right? So actually off cover because we do not have composure activated right now, right? You have to be in cover. So off cover with no concussion and no composure, our damage is 1,182 and crit is 1,245, but we're not gonna focus on crit, right? So just headshot damage. So 1,182. Now if we put concussion on it, right? Remember, we have no damage to elite. We have no damage to elite. just concussion is getting in the build. Now with concussion, right, first shot 1,182,000. So is concussion not working? It is working, but the first shot is to activate it, and the second shot you're gonna take that damage that concussion is gonna give you. So let's do this again. First shot 182, it activates concussion. The second shot you get that damage, so 1,230 with concussion activated, right? Now let's do this. Let's put the build back, right? Let's put that. We take out concussion, right? So we have no concussion in there. We have no damage to elite. Now let's try composure. With composure that just got activated, guess how much I'm gonna do? 1,300,000. And then the damage activates right away, right? It's the first shot. And you don't have to do the first shot to activate it and then the second shot to get that damage, right? So you see what I mean? Composure over concussion. The best option it would be if you have both on the build, right? And that's how I said the best option would be if you had that composure in there with some aces and eights with vigilance and that 20 plus headshot damage on it, right? So that would be the best option if you have both on the build. But if you have to choose between concussion and composure, the best way to go is composure, because you're gonna get more damage for your buck, right? So now let's put the aces and eights all back together, right? Let's put the build together and let's see this. With this build, aces and eights, I'm gonna try without composure, 1,625,000. After we go in cover, it's gonna be 1,823,000. Now, when we get the aces and eights, things started getting a little bit crazier. We get like 3 million plus headshot damage, right? So, and this is where the build will shine. So, imagine if we had more damage to lead in here, and we had that concussion in here, we would be doing a lot more damage. So you guys get the idea. This build is really fun to use. I use this build a lot. So for the stats on this build, you guys can stop the video guys if you guys want. I'm just gonna scroll down, but I'm gonna stop right here. So for the sniper damage, we have 214,000 damage for the sniper. For PVE, for PvP is 117 damage on the conflict and normalized dark zone. Crit chance is 18%, 20% crit damage. Now we're not focusing on that, right? So we're focusing mostly on weapon damage and headshot damage. We have 256% headshot damage. That's not counting that 15% from the Nemesis Holster Talents on top of this. So this is gonna be a 271% headshot damage. If we keep on scrolling down, for the all weapon damage, we have 26.5% all weapon damage and 71% marksman rifle damage. Now if we add both of them, we're gonna have a 97.5% weapon damage for our marksman rifle. So that's a lot of damage. Now in here we have 68% damage to elite. Like I said, we have only 42% damage to elite on the mask. If we had anything higher for like 55% damage to elite, this number could even hit 80% damage to elite, right? So if you're lucky enough, you can get even higher damage to elite in this build, and you're gonna hit a lot higher damage numbers. So to finish off the skills is not really important in here. Whatever you want to choose in here, it's up to you. I do have the Kim Launcher reinforcers and the Hive, the Reviver. As a sniper, if the NPCs get too close, if you get in a situation where you got caught by surprise and they are in your butt, you might have a hard time killing them, so you might go down. So the Hive in here is just to help me out if I go down, right? So that's about it. And the Kim Launcher, if you get some shots, you can heal yourself back up. But whatever skills in here you want to choose, that's up to you. But yeah guys, that's my build. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, man. Let me know what you guys think of this build. I'm rocking this build because I'm loving it. I always loved using sniper. That's it for me guys. I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you enjoyed the video, hit me with a like, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.